Good afternoon, Lions fans. It's Will Rock with Rocked On Detroit Lions, and I wanted to bring you guys a special video presentation of your guy, Jameson Williams, and what he means to this Lions team right now, I think is really up in the air. So I want to put to rest, a lot of these emotions, if you will, or storylines surrounding Jameson Williams that are kind of going back and forth. You have one side of the room that is saying he's on bust watch. You have another side of the room that is saying that he just needs more time. And then you kind of have some people in the middle that are saying, yeah, he's kind of had enough time. He's not really been installed into the offense enough, and he's got to earn his stripes still and kind of prove to the Lions, what he can do. And then you have my opinion, right? Which you could agree with or not. But this is how I feel right now. And bye week, I said this whole season that when JAMO comes back, I was going to give him till week 12, which would have been 6 games, to figure out kind of where he is and how he's doing. Because those 6 games plus, last year's, I believe he was in for 7 games. That's 13 games. He should be able to produce, right? And he actually got 2 extra games. So he's already been back since week 5. He's had 4 regular season games this season. And he had, I believe, 7 games last season. So, look, should Jameson Williams be producing at this point? I mean, you can ask yourself that. Be honest with yourself. First round pick, number 12 overall, is not a pick that shouldn't A, be starting, B, should be a number 1 wide receiver on just about any team in the NFL. And C, I guess you can give him a little bit of a break because he had to come back from an ACL, right? So let's start there. He comes back from an ACL injury. He had, a little bit extra time to kind of recover. And I want to say that in 2022, he was in 6 games. So he came back, week 12-ish, I believe. And he got in 6 games. He's in 4 games so far this season. That's a total of 10. But when he came back last season, there was a little bit of a storyline following JAMO. He was a hothead on the sideline at times. He was kind of jumping up and down and complaining. He chewed out his coaches at one time, and I believe that was in the Green Bay game. And he immediately started with, not really knowing the playbook. And it was kind of all over the place on the field. But be that as it may, he didn't really have live game or live practice reps throughout training camp. So he needed a little bit more time to kind of get his feet underneath him, if you will. And what I'm going to show you today is I've gone through and recorded all of his catches, targets this season, just the regular season. I did show at least 1 or 2 from the preseason in the Giants game. But as you guys know, he came back this season. He had a full training camp. He was going to be suspended. He was able to go through the entire training camp and in the entire preseason. And that should have been enough to get him ready. The suspension doesn't help because then that means he was going to miss 6 weeks, which ultimately was 4 weeks of time to build more chemistry with Jared Goff. But if you're me, right, and this is how I approach things, look, I'm in Jared Goff's ear all day. Right? I'm on the phone all day. I'm in Jared Goff's backyard, if he would let me be, to get more time with him in the offseason. I would have been practicing with Jared Goff all offseason if Jared would have allowed it. And I think that they did do some stuff together in the offseason, right? Was it enough? I don't know. Did Jameson Williams, really show and prove to Jared that he wanted to be the best? Because there's one guy on this team, I mean, there's others, but there's one guy on this team in the wide receiver room that wants to be the best, and his name is Amon-Ra St. Brown. The guy catches 202 balls every day after practice, right? And that's the type of breeding confidence in yourself turns into excellence type of mentality. That's, look, I was picked way too late in the draft. I feel disrespected. I'm going to go out and prove to everybody they screwed up. And Amon-Ra St. Brown has done that. He's proved to everyone he should have been taken in the first round. He's playing like a first-round talent. He's clearly the best wide receiver on this team. That's not easy to do. You have, 1 in 32 chance to be the number one wide receiver and then stay there. And he's there. He is the number one target. And he is because he's dependable, right? He's gritty. He fits the team identity, the culture, the scheme, everything. But he puts the work in, day out, day after day, to prove to everybody that he should have been taken earlier in the draft. And now it's something to him where he doesn't want to let that go. Why is Jameson Williams not adopting that mentality? The story is he's too immature. He has not read the playbook and studied the playbook well enough to know what he's supposed to do on every play. And Jared Goff can't trust him. He hasn't built that confidence up yet in Jameson Williams. They don't have the chemistry yet together. And for all intents and purposes, that could take a full season to develop as a rookie. You are now in your second season. You've been around this team for more than, 18 months. That confidence and chemistry should have been built already. Why is it not? Is it a depth chart issue where Jared knows where he's going on his first and second look? And if JAMO's not part of that plan, well, then he's not part of that plan. But we'll look at somebody like JAHMYR GIBBS, who stepped in as a rookie and is producing. Not only in the run game now, but he's been producing in the pass game. Not as much as we had hoped, but he's doing it. So all these questions upon the shoulders of Jameson Williams, for me, start with, during your suspension, you came out and said that you only caught 100 balls a day on the jugs machine. Yet your teammate catches 202 after practice. For me, why didn't you catch 302? You're missing practice already. So why are you not out catching ball after ball after ball until your hands hurt? You have to be able to develop those skills. You have to be able to, catch a pass coming from an NFL elite quarterback. It's different. This isn't college. It's not the same schemes. You're not just a deep threat. You have to be utilized and available for all of the routes on the route tree. He's got great speed. He has phenomenal intangibles, but his route running is lackluster at best. His focus on the field is lackluster at best. And we're going to see that right now. And that's what we're going to start with today after my little tirade here, if you will, of JAMO. Look, I'm not giving up on the kid, okay? I'm not going to put myself in the bucket that he's a bust at all. What I am going to tell you that I believe JAMO's issue is that he's not focused. He hasn't put the time in. He hasn't put the effort in, and it's showing up on the field. A couple of things that I'm going to say right away about him is his head movement. When he is running a route, he's looking all over the place for the ball, right? Normally, that ball's coming over your left shoulder. You're looking over your left shoulder. The ball's coming over your right shoulder. You're looking over your right shoulder. JAMO's looking over both. And look, unless it's a busted play, broken play, that shouldn't happen. You should know where that ball's coming. Unless it's an extremely bad pass, you should know where that ball's coming. The NFL is all timing, right? In college, it is too, to a degree. I feel like in college, it's more scheme and things are a little bit more lax and open. They're just trying to make plays. In the NFL, you know that Jared's taking a 2 or 3 or 5-step drop, and that ball is going to be delivered on the 9-yard line on the inside hash. You better be there. And you got 1.8 seconds to get there. And that ball is going to be to you. And that's why you see a lot of these wide receivers, they may not look for the ball right away. They're turning as they're catching. Part of that is because they're trying to throw off the DB, that they're not expecting the ball, and then the ball's there. And I'm not going to go into all of it, but I think you guys understand that it's all about timing. And when I say it's all about timing, it's truly all timing. These plays are designed to be at a certain mark at a certain time. You better be there. And I don't feel like that's happening for JAMO as well as it should be. So I think that's enough said. Let's jump into it. Here we go. And I'm going to stop and start as we go. It's cold in Michigan. The studio is cold, so bear with me here. So Giants game, he had 7 targets, 2 catches, 18 yards, no TDs. Poor focus on this first play. JAMO's lined up at the bottom of your screen there. Goes deep. Look, he's not looking for the ball. And this is what I want to point out, and I'm going to stop it. So he's at the 22. He does not look for the ball till now. Right around the 40 to 42 yard line, he's now finally looking for the ball. Why is that a problem? Well, this pocket is starting to collapse on Jared. If he's not looking back for the ball and seeing what's going on around the line of scrimmage, he doesn't know if he should sit down on his route and come back and get open for Jared. Look at all of this space. There's at least 13 yards of space between JAMO and, the underneath. He could have stopped on this route and come back. And I'm sure that this is an option route. You've got the safety over top that, again, that's 13, 14, 15 yards of space. You can't start looking for the ball 20 yards down the field. Now, obviously, that was a bad pass, maybe a pass that Jared shouldn't have thrown. But it looks like to me he was expecting JAMO to stop on the route and come back. And that is a consistent problem that you're going to see. The second play here, look, that's a touchdown. That's just poor focus and clearly a drop. Fault tracker, we're going to track them. JAMO owns that one. And that's all I really wanted to show you from the Giants is those 2 plays. I wasn't going to go into all of them. They're actually quite hard to find. Let me rewind that just a little bit. Week 5 Panthers. He's got 3 targets. I believe he had 2 catches, no TDs, 2 yards. First game back. We didn't expect much, but again, first play, poor focus drop again. Now he's going to come up into the flats and then work towards the middle. And JAMO hears footsteps. Ghosts and footsteps. He's seeing ghosts and he's hearing footsteps his first game back. It's his first game back. He's going to get a pass. But again, that's another drop right through the hands. Perfectly placed and timed ball. If you're Amon-Ra St. Brown or anybody else, you are grabbing that ball and going right down, eliminating the possibility for a big hit. Number 2 here. Missed block by Jones on this play. So this is not JAMO's fault. But back to that first play. You're not supposed to be hit by a linebacker, as a defenseless receiver or anybody across the middle. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But JAMO has to understand and know where he is on the field and have presence of mind to get down. This is just a poorly designed play. Look, Jones missed a block. I don't like these quick outs, quick hitch, whatever you want to call it. I don't like them. Terrible play for the Lions. They do not work. And they ran it again. Not JAMO's fault. But first play, he's at fault. Second play, he's not. Again, this is just another bad play, another quick hitch, poor design. This time he steps back, gets the ball, creates a little bit of space, another missed block, goes for a couple of yards. That's it. JAMO can definitely be used better in this offense. So on this game, JAMO's at fault for 1. He's not at fault for the other 2. Tampa Bay, 3 targets, 2 catches, 1 TD, 53 yards. Now the TD was 45 yards. So he only gained 8 yards on the other catch. First one, tough throw by Goff, good catch by JAMO. I still would like to see JAMO work back towards the ball. But on this play, Goff's rolling out. He's getting pressure immediately. He throws off of his front foot to avoid the pressure and to get rid of the ball and to find JAMO. And look, that's not a high quality throw. That is not a high percentage throw. And that's what you don't want to see is Jared throwing off of his front foot off balance like that. So not JAMO's fault. Obviously a good catch. But I would like to see him work back towards the ball. And what I mean by that, and you'll see it coming up here soon, is that when you get to the top of your route and you sit down in your route, you should be working back, right? I mean, again, we'll go back to timing. You're supposed to be at a certain place to accept the pass, right? But if it's a broken play, if there's pressure and you have to adjust, you need to work back towards the ball. That helps the quarterback. But this is another poor focus drop. This is the third one. Preseason game and the first 2 games. He's got to work back towards Jared Goff on this play. He sat at the top of his route, went to the sideline. He got great separation, and then he stalled. But again, it hits the mitts. That's got to be a catch. All he had to do was come back another yard, and he's catching that, at his waist or, in the breadbasket. Third play, we know it happened. Great touchdown. This play is identical to the play that he dropped last season that was on the other side of the goal line. Identical play. Same yard mark, same everything. But what I want to point out is his head turned right and then left. It's really difficult to see, in this play with the quality of replay. But, he's looking right, looking left. JAMO narrowly wins the fault battle this time in this game. He needs to work on ball tracking, working toward the quarterback, not staying still, keeping his legs moving, knowing what shoulder to expect the ball and taking better angles and having some anticipation. My question is this: does he have an eye issue? Is there something going on with his depth perception? Because what I'm seeing in a lot of these plays is that he's misjudging the depth of the ball. At least from the outside looking in, that's what one could possibly think, right? Look, these guys go through tons of medical. They get their eyes checked. They get everything done. But I'm wondering if, there's something going on with his depth perception that maybe the Lion should get his eyes checked again, because he shouldn't be missing these balls. Week 7, Baltimore, terrible game for the Lions. He had 6 targets, no catches, 2 more drops. So this will be at least drop number 5 on the season. He was in tight coverage on this first play. And look, I thought this play was inbounds. Bad angles, not much angles to look at to, get a better observation of that play. But that's not JAMO's fault. He secured the catch. He went down for the ball. He worked back a little bit. This second play, I thought there was a possible penalty. It looked like he got hooked right there before the ball arrived. And you're going to see it on another play too. So that's not JAMO's fault at all. Yeah, and I hope you guys realize too what I'm doing here. Look, I am giving JAMO his flowers where he deserves it, right? But I'm also going to call him out on where he doesn't deserve it. That's my take on being transparent, open, honest. We want to give you guys the right information so you can make an informed and educated decision on your team and the players that are on this team and how they're performing. I'm not going to be like all of the other media out there and just tell you what you want to hear or tell you what you don't want to hear. I want to give you both sides and give you a very transparent opinion, if you will, or take. And it's all based on video evidence. Look, I'm giving you the information. This one to me was an intentional interception. So this play, 4th down, 4th and long, it could be said here that JAMO was way out of position, but I'm not going to go with that. Let me rewind this one. I don't think I added another look. But 4th down, and what I'm going to show you here is right there. So you've got 1, 2, you got 3 guys that JAMO's kind of in the middle of. If JAMO would have stopped on this route and come back, he probably could have had an opening to secure the ball. But that's not what happened. He was running to the left. This ball's going to the right. And what I think Goff did here was like, look, I'm not going to give you the ball at the 45-yard line, on your side of the field. A greedy DB is going to make the interception. Doesn't matter where the ball is. If that were me, I would have not have caught that ball, right? That's having awareness and knowing that it's 4th down and you're going to get the ball on the other side of the field. I don't need this interception. At least he had presence of mind to sit down in the end zone. So again, first 3 passes, not JAMO's fault at all. But I do think that was an intentional interception by Goff. This play I put don't stop. He stops on this route. So JAMO's at the bottom of your screen in the backfield down here. He's going to be swinging out to the flat, and he kind of stops. That ball was thrown ahead of him so that he could catch it in stride and keep moving, up past the sticks. That one's his fault. He stopped on the route. 5th target off the face. Like this play, when I first saw it, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But then when you look at it a little bit closer, and remember, this is slowed down like 40% slower than normal speed. There's a possible penalty on this with an early swat by Jameson. Look, swat, ball in the face. Now, it was kind of a bang-bang play, but JAMO didn't look ready for that ball at all. And that's why I'm wondering, is his lack of focus an eye issue? Because if that were me, and again, look, I'm not a, amazing wide receiver. I'm just using myself as an example. If that were me, my hands would have already been coming up towards the ball because that was bang, bang. And if that was in real time, his hands were never up. Now, yes, Jameson swatted one arm out of the play. So that should have been a penalty for pass interference, but it was bang, bang. So I think that's why they didn't throw it. Now, this last target, let me rewind that. So another pure drop. What is this? Number 6 now on the season? This should have been a touchdown, but you notice how he looked over his right shoulder and then quickly looked left? It hits the mitts, man. You've got to make the play. Starts to look right. Oh, shit. Got to look left. Look, if he was looking left the whole time, that's a catch. Focus is a problem. He doesn't know where the ball is coming. So during the Baltimore game, JAMO was at fault for 50% of those passes not being completed. And it's all based on focus. Week 8, Raiders game, 2 targets, 1 catch, another drop, 16 yards, 1 run for 2 yards, no TDs. Had his welcome to the NFL moment from Max Crosby. Again, another drop. I've lost count at this point. We're either on 6 or 7. So rolling out to the sideline, look, that's supposed to be a first down. It's thrown to the outside shoulder so that he can catch, cradle, and keep moving towards the sticks. And those plays, you see Amon-Ra do it well. He's going to catch that ball, and he's going to be moving and diving up to his left, knowing where the sticks are because he has great awareness, and he's going to get that first down. And that's what the Lions needed at that point. They needed a playmaker, somebody to make a play. That was a good pass. Again, hits the mitts. You've got to catch it. Number 2, welcome to Mad Max. Now, I've got a conspiracy theory on this, and I'm going to share it. And here's why. And I don't think it's totally true, but I'm going to share it just anyway, just because. So I feel that part of JAMO's issues with seeing ghosts, hearing footsteps, right, stopping on routes because he's about to get licked. I think he's a little nervous. I don't know if he's gotten, banged up in training camp and practice. If he took some hard hits and maybe he's a little apprehensive about catching balls over the middle and maybe he's a little scared. I wouldn't want to say that that's 100% accurate. I'm just basing it on what I see. He looks like he's playing scared, especially with anything over the middle or when he's about to get hit. So with Crosby not being blocked at all on this play, I almost feel like it was intentional that, between Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell, and I'm not saying they would intentionally try to hurt a player, that they wanted him to take a good lick so that he could get up and say, wait, I'm okay. I'm fine. I just took a huge hit from Max Crosby and I'm fine. Breeding confidence inside him, right? Give him the confidence that now he's okay to catch that ball over the middle and take a lick. But wild conspiracy, but the thought entered my mind. This last play, again, just a bad play call, with that run. Deep cross. Look, he did an excellent job catching this ball in traffic. But what I see here is 2 receivers running to the same spot. Let me rewind that. Somebody had to be in the wrong here. There is no way you're both running to the same spot. I mean, they almost ran into each other. So JAMO, they're both doing this cross, same exact play over the middle. They're literally a half a yard apart right now. And I believe that's Reynolds, that he almost runs into JAMO, or JAMO almost runs into Reynolds. I don't see that very often in the NFL where, receivers are running into each other. So this game, JAMO's 1 for 1 on the fault tracker on this one. The first drop, but the rest of the plays, not his fault. So first half of the season stats for JAMO, he's been in 4 games, 15 targets, 6 catches, 71 yards, 1 TD. This is all per Pro Football Reference. Okay. And just so you guys know that I'm not fudging stats, I've got the stats pulled up for you. They're going to pop up in just a second. But before they come up, and while we're looking at them, I want to know in the comments, do you feel that JAMO potentially has an eye issue? And after you've seen these highlights, now do you realize that he's purely dropping good place balls? Pause. Don't even start. But he's dropping, good throws by Goff. And those were 6 receptions that should have been had. Totally changes the dynamic on JAMO, right? You catch those 6 passes, you are now 12 of 15 on the season. And, his rating of the quarterback would be much, much higher. Versus Tampa, I mean, he gave Jared 149 rating because he caught 2 out of 3 for a TD and 53 yards. I mean, the issue I have with these stats is they're highly glorified. They are not legit because he's not getting a ton of targets. He's, doing the bare minimum in these games. And even with that being said, he needs a larger sampling size before we know what we have. And that's why I'm not ready to mail in the bus ticket on JAMO just yet. I see some opportunity for this kid. I do. But right now, what I've seen and what I've shown is poor focus. He's dropping great passes. He's not turning back and heading towards the quarterback. He's sitting on his routes. Got to keep them legs moving, man. You got to be working back. Now, look, I don't know everything that's going on inside this offense. I don't know what Ben Johnson and Antoine Randall L are teaching these guys. But from an outsider's perspective, I guess, you're always under the impression and understanding that you want to work back towards the quarterback and make sure that you're giving the quarterback an opportunity to make a good throw. And if the quarterback is under pressure, you have to be able to allow that quarterback to find you, right? And create some space, or you have to be aggressive and get up and get after the ball. The nice part is you now have DPJ coming in, and he's going to be a very valuable asset to this team, not only from the perspective of a solid, sideline threat, end zone threat. He's an aggressive receiver. He does work back towards the ball. He's a 50-50 kind of guy. He loves to go up and get the contested catches. But this is now just another mentor for JAMO, right? Somebody that's going to be in the room that can help teach him. These are the things that you need to do and focus on. I hope DPJ gets a contract from the Lions for next season or the next 2 seasons. I really do. I think that he's going to be wonderful in this offense. And I really think he's going to help JAMO, progress in his career. So, all right, look, you probably expected a total bashing of JAMO today, but I'm not ready to do that. I wanted to show you what I've seen. And these, comments that I make, week in and week out on the shows, it's based on evidence. It's based on the video or the tape, if you will, and in his highlights and what he's doing and what he's not doing. And I wanted to show you what I see. Now, this is just my take, and I want to know your take right down there in the comments. What do you think about JAMO's progression so far as a pro athlete? Forget everything he did at Bama, because none of that matters. I mean, different scheme, different offense, different quarterback, different everything, right? This is the pros. This is the league. It's different. It's time to produce. It's time to shit or get off the pot, right? But how much time are you willing to give JAMO? How long of a leash do you think Brad Holmes is going to give JAMO? So those are my questions for you. I'm going to try to build a poll or do something in the comments. And I want to know, what's your grade on JAMO so far? Especially after watching this video. Where do you think he's going to end up at the end of this season? And more importantly, my big take on JAMO is this. If this guy can start to catch lightning in a bottle come December, and he really starts to produce in a few games, because he's going to have plenty of opportunity going up against some of these terrible defenses that the Lions, have on their schedule now. Is that all that really matters? For me, I would say yes. I just want to see the kid produce. I want to see him earn his weight in gold for being a number 12 pick overall. And as long as he does it at some point this season and carries that momentum into the playoffs and does something to help this team win, all is forgotten, right? This is the show me league, right? It's the prove it league. It's what have you done, for me lately league. It's not what I did at college league. It's not what I did last year league. It's show me what you got now. Go do it today. And as long as JAMO can put these things together and start to produce for this Detroit Lions team, the fans will adore him. They will all jump back onto his bus or his bandwagon, whatever you want to call it, and things will be fine. Look, Motown is hurting for another big play, playmaker. We want another one. We want to see some phenomenal highlights. Right now, this team is just so gritty that, the things that they do and they're successful with, it's just like, okay, that was a great play. Let's do it again. It's not like, wow, did you see that? Like, holy cow, look what, JAHMYR GIBBS did, or look what AMON did. Look at that, acrobatic catch. We don't have much of that. This team is nose to the grindstone, and get it done any which way they can. Win the game. I don't care if it's 1 point, 10 points, 20 points, win the game. And that's great. I'm glad they have that mindset. I really am happy at the direction of this football team. So tell me what you think about JAMO in the comments. And, tell me, when are you going to make your final decision, or unless you already have, on who this kid's going to turn out to be? I have hope for you, JAMO. I really do. Anyway, I appreciate all of you guys. Look, check below if you haven't subscribed yet. Please join us. Join Rocked On Detroit Lions on this journey that we're headed on. And don't forget to hit that toggle on the notification bell so you know when great videos like this are popping up. You guys are truly the sponsors and supporters of this channel, and we can't thank you enough. So we'll see y'all next time. Go One Pride. Go Detroit Lions. Go Jameson Williams. We'll see y'all later.